A quarterly earnings summary lands on a chief financial officer's desk looking flawless. But buried in the third paragraph is a fabricated revenue figure that could trigger an SEC investigation. This is the reality of AI hallucination, a critical flaw where artificial intelligence invents convincing but entirely false information for organizations relying on automated systems to draft high-stakes business reports. These plausible lies represent a mass of liability. The promise of instant productivity is quickly overshadowed by the severe risk of operational catastrophe. Consider a mid-sized logistics firm that recently automated its supply chain analysis, only to discover that the system hallucinated a non-existent port strike, prompting costly and unnecessary rerouting. The underlying issue stems from how standard models process information, prioritizing linguistic fluency over factual accuracy. When a system lacks the specific data required to answer a query, it simply predicts the next most likely word based on its training data, creating a seamless fiction. Organizations cannot afford to build their strategic decisions on a foundation of statistical guesswork. To understand how to stop this, we must first understand the mechanics of a standard LLM or large language model, the core technology behind generative AI, which creates text, code, or media based on user inputs. An LLM is not a database of facts. It is a complex probability engine. During its training on vast swaths of internet text, it learns the relationships between words, not the absolute truth of the concepts they represent. When queried about recent financial data or proprietary company metrics, the model relies on its static historical training weights. This architectural limitation makes raw, unaugmented models inherently unsuitable for precision business reporting. If you ask a standard generative system to summarize your company's proprietary third-quarter performance without providing the actual data, it will confidently generate a response that looks like a standard quarterly report, complete with fabricated numbers. The danger lies in the confidence of the delivery. The output requires meticulous, line-by-line human verification, which entirely negates the efficiency gains that technology was supposed to provide in the first place. The definitive answer to this structural flaw is Retrieval Augmented Generation, often referred to as RAG. This architecture fundamentally changes how an artificial intelligence formulates its responses. Instead of relying solely on the internal knowledge baked into its neural network, a RAG system actively searches an external verified database for the exact information needed before it generates a single word. It separates the reasoning capabilities of the model from the factual knowledge required to answer the prompt. When a user requests a business analysis through a RAG framework, the system first translates that request into a search query. It then scans a designated repository of trusted documents, such as internal PDFs, financial spreadsheets, or secure intranet pages to retrieve the most relevant paragraphs. Only after extracting these factual snippets does the system pass them, along with the original user request, to the language model. The model is then strictly instructed to base its answer entirely on the provided context. Implementing this architecture requires deliberate API integration, which is the process of connecting different software applications so they can communicate and share data seamlessly. Organizations must connect their chosen language model to their proprietary data silos using secure pipelines. This setup ensures that the AI only accesses authorized information, maintaining strict data governance while simultaneously grounding its outputs in reality. The integration transforms a generic text generator into a highly specialized, fact-driven research assistant tailored to the specific needs of the business. Our testing of various enterprise setups reveals that implementing a robust retrieval system can reduce factual hallucination rates by over 95% compared to using standalone models. Because the RAG architecture forces the AI to cite the specific internal documents it used to generate the answer, human reviewers can instantly verify the claim. If a generated report cites a specific revenue increase, the user can click a link directly to the source spreadsheet. This auditability is what makes the technology viable for compliance-heavy industries. It is crucial to distinguish between modern RAG frameworks and traditional keyword search engines. Older enterprise search tools relied on exact word matches, often failing to find relevant documents if the user phrased the query differently than the text in the file. Modern retrieval systems use vector databases and semantic search, meaning they understand the underlying meaning and context of the query. If you ask about revenue shortfalls, the system will retrieve documents discussing profit margins and financial losses, even if the exact word shortfall is absent. For professionals looking to deploy practical solutions, the first step is organizing and cleaning the data that will serve as the system's ground truth. A retrieval model is only as reliable as the documents it searches. If your corporate knowledge base is cluttered with outdated policies, contradictory reports, and obsolete financial projections, the AI will retrieve and generate answers based on that flawed data. Establishing a strict data hygiene protocol is a mandatory prerequisite for any organization attempting to overcome AI hallucinations. This shift in architecture represents a fundamental change in how businesses should view artificial intelligence. We are moving away from treating the model as an omniscient oracle that knows everything, and instead treating it as a highly capable reasoning engine that needs to be handed the correct files to do its job. By constraining the model's universe of knowledge to a curated set of verified documents, organizations regain control over their informational outputs. The technology becomes a tool for synthesis rather than a source of unverified claims. While retrieval systems address the data side of the equation, prompt engineering provides the necessary behavioral constraints. This practice involves deliberately structuring the instructions given to an AI to guide its output style, tone, and logical process. In the context of preventing fabrications, prompt engineering acts as the final line of defense. Even with a perfect retrieval system, the model must be explicitly told how to handle situations where the retrieved documents do not contain the answer. Effective anti-hallucination prompts include strict conditional logic. A standard instruction might read, "Answer the user's question using only the provided context," and if the answer cannot be found in the context, you must state that you do not have enough information to answer this, and you must not attempt to guess. This simple string of text drastically alters the model's behavior, prioritizing accuracy and admission of ignorance over the inherent drive to provide a fluent, complete-sounding, but potentially false response. Combining these precise instructional constraints with a robust retrieval pipeline creates a highly resilient workflow. When the system searches the corporate database and finds nothing relevant, the prompt engineering takes over, ensuring the AI gracefully declines to answer rather than inventing a plausible narrative. This combined approach is what allows financial analysts and legal teams to trust the automated generation of initial drafts for their business reports. The framework's principles ensure that silence is always preferred over a convincing lie. Recognizing this critical business need, the software market has rapidly pivoted towards specialized enterprise AI tools that feature built-in retrieval capabilities. Rather than forcing companies to build complex pipelines from scratch, vendors are offering out-of-the-box platforms where users can simply upload their documents and immediately begin querying them safely. These platforms handle the complex vectorization of data and the back-end API connections, democratizing access to hallucination-free artificial intelligence for small and medium-sized enterprises. When evaluating these market offerings, the distinction between consumer-grade chat interfaces and true enterprise platforms becomes stark. Consumer tools often blend web search with their internal training data, making it difficult to trace the exact origin of a specific claim. Enterprise tools, conversely, allow administrators to strictly wall off the AI from the open internet, restricting its knowledge base entirely to the company's secure internal network. This isolation is non-negotiable for organizations handling sensitive client data, trade secrets, or material non-public information. The return on investment for these specialized platforms is measured not just in time saved on drafting, but in the drastic reduction of human auditing time. In our analysis of legal firms adopting these secure frameworks, the time required to verify the citations in an AI-generated contract review dropped by 60%, Because every claim is hyperlinked to a specific uploaded document, senior partners can validate the machine's work in minutes rather than hours, unlocking massive productivity gains without sacrificing quality control. A prominent regional bank recently demonstrated the power of this approach by overhauling its loan approval reporting. Previously, analysts spent days manually pulling data from various credit bureaus and internal risk assessments to write summary reports. By deploying an enterprise retrieval system, the bank automated the drafting process. The AI pulled the exact figures from the secure applicant files, synthesized the risk factors, and generated the summaries. Because the system was structurally prohibited from guessing, the hallucination rate dropped to 0, accelerating the approval pipeline safely. To replicate this success, decision-makers must audit their current workflows to identify where unverified AI outputs are currently creating risk. Look for departments using generic chat tools to summarize meetings, draft client emails, or analyze spreadsheets. These are the immediate targets for migrating to a retrieval-based framework. By identifying these vulnerability points, leadership can systematically replace unpredictable generative tools with grounded, verifiable systems, securing the organization's informational integrity. Even with the most advanced RAG frameworks in place, organizations must establish a human-in-the-loop verification protocol. The AI should be treated as a highly competent junior analyst whose work always requires a final review by a senior team member. The goal of the retrieval architecture is to make this review process as frictionless as possible by providing clear citations, not to remove human oversight entirely. This collaborative workflow maximizes efficiency while maintaining an absolute standard of accountability. A persistent danger remains in the misinterpretation of retrieved data. While a retrieval system stops the AI from inventing numbers, it cannot guarantee that the AI will perfectly interpret the nuance of a highly complex financial document. If a retrieved contract contains convoluted conditional clauses, the model might still summarize the terms incorrectly, even if it does not hallucinate new ones. This highlights the ongoing necessity for domain experts to evaluate the final outputs, ensuring the synthesized information accurately reflects the source material's intent. The integration of these advanced architectures proves that the era of accepting plausible lies from our technology is ending. Organizations no longer have to choose between the speed of automated generation and the accuracy required for professional operations. By systematically separating factual retrieval from linguistic reasoning, businesses can harness the immense power of these models while completely neutralizing their most dangerous flaw. The path forward is built on verifiable data, strict behavioral constraints, and transparent audit trails. Ultimately, mastering retrieval augmented generation is not just an IT initiative, it is a fundamental requirement for maintaining a competitive edge in a data-driven economy. Those who implement these practical solutions to overcome AI hallucinations will produce faster, more accurate business reports, earning the trust of their clients and stakeholders by demanding that artificial intelligence proves its claims with hard evidence. We transform a fascinating technological experiment into an indispensable, reliable engine for enterprise growth.